tomorrow. Afternoon headlines sponsored by Ram Trucks Built to Serve. We've got another Week 1 game with storylines galore. Jets versus 49ers. Brock versus Rodgers. Saleh versus his old team. Brew versus himself. QB comparison. Rodgers, his last healthy year. I didn't do any tricks here. Versus Purdy's last healthy year. Those are the statistics. Brock Purdy leading in every statistical category. Rodgers with the lead in podcast appearances. Brew, do you have more faith in Rodgers or Purdy?
I'm shocked that you guys think this is a struggle for me.
Well, they're two of your favorites.
I just bring cogent analysis. You guys are writing off Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying, with those weapons, he's motivated. He could have a really nice season. Mm-hmm. But in this question,
thank you.
Brock Purdy all day, all night.
Thank you.
All right? He's got the better weapons. He's got the better play caller. And look, Nick and I disagree on this. I think Brock Purdy's just going to keep improving. At least, I think this is going to be his best year. Mm-hmm. He's only been playing for a year and a half. He's going to be more comfortable in Shanahan's offense. He's got, he obviously must be a very good leader because the veterans have bought into him. But I think he's going to become even more of a leader. He's not only had very good regular seasons, not only broke, the yardage record for a historic franchise with Montana and Young, but he's actually proven to the vets and the guys on his team, I can get you to the Super Bowl and actually play pretty well. All right? And so I think Brock Purdy's going to have a great game. Rodgers, I think there's going to be a little bit of a slow start. He doesn't typically, he's 0-4 in the playoffs against San Francisco. 2 of his last 3 eliminations from the playoffs have come against the Niners. So, and that's obviously a very good defense. So I don't know that this will be a fantastic game for Rodgers.
Blowout City alert. Whoop, whoop. Hubs, I'm sorry, we should have gotten the sirens. We're on blowout alert. Last opening 5 games for the 49ers last year. Steelers 30-7. Rams, who are always, they still got the win, but you know how that goes. Giants 30-12. Cardinals 35-16. Cowboys 42-10.
Okay.
I think it's going to get ugly. And did you know, probably, that Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 300 yards in his last 23 games?
Wow. That is crazy.
How much of
and
this
last year, there was only 2 quarterbacks who threw for 300 yards against 49ers defense. It was Patrick Mahomes in overtime in the Super Bowl and Kirk Cousins. That's it. Everybody else under 300. So I do not think that Aaron Rodgers is going to break this streak and have a great game, throw for 300 yards. I think we're on blowout alert.
Can I ask so quickly?
Sure.
How much of this is your anti-Jets bias? Because that's always baked into your Aaron Rodgers things. You're never going to give him credit because you don't like the Jets.
It totally exists, but there's a firewall. Okay. There's a firewall between my anti-Jets bias and just facts that Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown for 300 yards.
It also, in Wild's defense, the anti-Jets bias didn't wake up one day and be like, you know what? The team that I'm going to go after is the Jets. They earned it.
They're bad.
They lost all benefit of the doubt. We didn't even talk about it. That this week we found out, and it leaked, that they were like, guys, I got a plan. Let's make Nat Hackett the puppet offensive coordinator and bring in a real offensive coordinator. We'll let Nat Hackett keep the title, but someone else will be running the offense. And then they couldn't land that plane, and so now they still have Nat Hackett, and he's humiliated in front of the whole world. Because they're not a well-run operation. So as far as what Bruce said, I happen to think Brock Purdy's Super Bowl performance is way overrated.
It wasn't bad.
No,
it was good. Would you say good?
Yeah. I think it was as good as one can perform in a game where there were 3 separate times he could have won in the game and didn't come through.
If that Chiefs defense, if we really want to give the flowers to the Chiefs defense, then Brock is moving the ball and gets to overtime. Then I think you have
he played better than the 2-time MVP against that defense. Obviously, Lamar.
Okay. Oh yeah. No. He did play better than Lamar against the defense. I'm not trying to argue.
Also, the Jets defense is not going to be the Chiefs defense.
I tend to agree with that, even though I do think the Jets defense will be good. But my answer, even given my long-standing kind of skepticism of Purdy, is also Purdy. And it is because even if I doubt Purdy's arm talent and athleticism and a lot of things I think put a hard ceiling on the Niners. He is not going to be a problem for them. He off the field. He is not going to be a distraction. And people think that I don't like Aaron because of what he says on this litany of podcasts, the latest of which he was on, I think today, or at least was spread today, with 2 hours with Tucker Carlson talking about everything in the world. Forget what anyone thinks of it. Just pick another quarterback. If Josh Allen was just regularly talking about things that are wildly controversial in any group setting, we would say, well, how's that going to land in the locker room? If you ask 50 random people what they think of hot button issues and you are strident and obnoxious about it, does that lead to being a galvanizing force? The damn Chiefs kicker just gave a speech that I know is polarizing. I happen to not vibe with it. I know a lot of people do it. We don't have to get into it. As the kicker, I don't like it. I'm like, gosh darn it, man. Like, that's going to create a little bit of locker room But he's the kicker at least. Now, you're the quarterback. I think it's actually bad for the football team.
I agree with you generally. But in this case, they seem to really love Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. If it's only because we're a disastrous franchise and he's coming in as our savior, this Hall of Fame quarterback.
I agree with that for the now. But if he's healthy and they're mediocre, they're 3-3. And he's popping off about the election that just happened. How do we think Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the weeks leading up to the presidential election? How do we think Aaron Rodgers is going to be throughout the year if they're not great? All those things make me not believe in him.
Andy hasn't thrown for 300 yards.